Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God Chapter 612 for Season 3 Episode 195. I'll be honest, I'm not feeling too great tonight, but I'm very, very excited to read, as I always am. Hopefully the intro won't be too crazy long, but at this point I'm getting kind of used to them being pretty long. There are only two things I want to talk about before starting to read the chapter. I want to talk about your answers, your replies to when I asked which of the Zahard's princesses you want to see next in the story, and I also want to talk about last week's chapter and again some of the things you all had to say. So let's try to get through those as quickly as possible. Before getting into your answers, I do want to say that Nayade Hemmings and Animosity both did replies, both did videos talking about their answers to which of the Zahard's princesses they would like to see next in the series, so I'll link both of their videos in the comments and description. I won't talk about their answers here just because I would like to, obviously not take eyes away from their content, but rather direct it towards their content. But I will be talking about your answers. So exactly 1 week ago, a little over a week ago, a week and a bit of time, I made a video asking all of you which Zahard princess that you want to see next in the story. For me, I said Hagaferion was my second place, and sorry to spoil the video, but for me it was Hace. Hace was my choice for the one I want to see next. And so, what I did today, since it's been a week, since, people replying is kind of tapered off a bit, I gathered together everybody's responses to it in the comments, in messages, anything that you all have sent to me with your answers to it, and these are the top 5 that you all said you want to see most coming up. In 5th place was Repalista. Now, we've already seen Repalista, but people want to see Repalista again. There were people, Garam didn't make the top 5, but there were people that said Garam. So, people who want to see these characters again. Repalista was in 5th. 4th was Adori. I thought En and Adori would be by far the most. I thought that pretty much everybody was going to be answering En and Adori. Adori was 4th. 3rd was Maria, and a lot of people's justification clearly makes sense where they're all like, I was complaining last week about Kuhn's development. A lot of people are like, Kuhn's development has been really stagnant. We really should get to this Maria stuff at some point. I really want to see what that's going to look like with Kuneye and Maria and their relationship, and how's that plot line going to go. So Maria had the 3rd most answers, and the most answers were actually a tie between Eurasia N. Zahard and Arie Hagaferion Zahard. They tied for the most replies, but technically I only counted the people's first choices when I compiled all these together. There were a lot of people that were like, Hagaferion is my second choice or my third choice. So if I were to count like everything, including people throwing out their second and third choices, Hagaferion actually would have won. She would have been the most popular answer for who people want to see next. En, again, to me seems like a really, really obvious one, but Hagaferion, I feel like, again, that was my second place choice. That's a character that I feel is very hyped up. I'm really excited when we finally get to see her, but it seems like a lot of people with the answers and everything just really find her story very cool and are really interested in the REA stuff. Her relation with Hone, with the special test and everything, her relationship to White, if she was the one to have defeated him and everything, which I think is probably going to be the case. I think that when we get into who it was who defeated White, it's probably, like, I can't really see it being anyone else other than Hagaferion personally. So again, that was the most hyped up from all of your answers and your replies. So yeah, if I count Hagaferion as first, then your top 5 would be Repalista, then Adori, then Maria, then En, then Hagaferion. And then, to talk a little bit about last chapter, 2 big things I didn't like. So I said last chapter was my least favorite chapter in the entire series, and here's the thing. I'm usually pretty positive about Tower of God. I give Tower of God a lot of leeway and everything. I'm still going to be honest and critical of things that I think are like sort of missteps, things that I don't like personally. I'm going to talk about things I don't like personally. I'm just going to be honest with you. But at the same time, again, I am very, very easy on Tower of God. So for me saying it's my least favorite in the series, it's not exactly like it's a very low bar. It's a fairly, at least mid-level bar. For me, worst in the series, I would have given last week's chapter like a 4 or a 5 out of 10. I mean, there were some things I like. I love seeing Dumas's actual real design, getting to see his real body, because that's something that I'd been hoping for a while. If you've been watching for a while, I've been talking about like, oh, I think this is just the armor. I think he has a real human form. I can't wait till we get to see it. So getting to see his like actual humanoid form is really cool. So there were things I liked. The two big things I disliked. First of all, Khun just getting random power-ups. Again, he never gets more development than just following Bomb around lately. And I say lately, it's hundreds of chapters. He finally got some actual development hundreds of chapters ago in the Hidden Floor, but then he decided to never use his ice powers again. We haven't seen those. He randomly gets given the Firefish. There are things I like and things I don't like about that. Some people absolutely hate it. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I'm also not the hugest fan at the same time. Kind of back and forth with that. I do think what happened last week kind of sucked, though, again, because he's just like, I don't know how spells work, I don't know how any of this works, but I'm just randomly using it. And it's not just a Tower of God thing. With any series, if a character's using powers or abilities, I'd like it to feel earned. I'd like it to feel like they worked for it. I'd like it to be like, oh yeah, they trained to have this power, or they gave up this to have this power, etc. But Khun didn't train or give anything up. He talks about, oh, something bad is going to happen because of the Firefish, but I don't think anything's ever going to actually happen because of that. I am pressing X to doubt very, very hard on if there are actually going to be any consequences whatsoever. But again, it's like he never studied or learned or trained how to use spells. He's just, okay, he can use spells now. I really, really don't like that very much. I'm not a big fan. Then, on top of that, also another one of the things I complained about, which again, I don't think is really that big a deal. For the Khun stuff, I think it's a bigger deal. I think it's a bit more annoying, because at this point I feel like Khun's development is just kind of cooked. I don't know what CU's doing with him. I don't know what he's going to do with him. I think Khun's character is a disaster right now currently. The thing that doesn't matter as much is the Pobedao family being writing people stuff. Here's the thing. It's not a big enough deal that I'm like, oh, Tower of God's trash, I'm gonna drop the series because of it. I really truly don't think that it's that big a deal. But at the same time, it's like, would I have preferred for all of them to just be traditionally biological children of Gastang? Yeah, I would have preferred that over the writing people stuff, but I don't really mind the writing people stuff that much. So Dumas says it's the head librarians. I think somebody pointed out that Proust was called a head librarian, so that means we have confirmed Richemont Michel, Dumas, and Proust, if that's the case, and confirmed not head librarians are Varan, who's the guy that Garnak took out. Varan was confirmed not a head librarian, Giscard was not a head librarian, and Ruini wasn't a head librarian. Ruini was the one in charge of the fleet that was going up against Kirin and all of the branch leaders before the Pobedao, like Kier and Erno and all of them showed up. So they were confirmed. They're not head librarians, so presumably they aren't writing people. Does that mean they're actual children of Gastang, or are they children of other members of his family? Who knows? Now, one thing that I've been saying with this writing people stuff is it's a little bit annoying if Gastang can just make characters as strong as Dumas, but for me, I was like, one good drawback to that could be that he gives up a part of himself. We know he gives up these aspects of himself now as of last chapter, but I was like, he could give up a part of himself in the sense that he has to give up that proportional amount of power, and he can't get that power back until he reabsorbs that person like he did with Richemont. But you guys in the comments actually had some better suggestions than me. Now, one suggestion I don't like as much as the other, but again, I think it's perfectly good, I think it's perfectly fine, and I don't want to downplay anybody else's idea, so I think this is good too, and I wanted to talk about this too. That idea is that it's similar to kind of what we saw from Yasracha or Doom or Wang Wang or Yama, where he's giving people the writing. He's taking people that already exist and putting an aspect of himself onto them to make him into, or to make them into the writing people. I think that's another good way to balance it. And we see stuff like that happening with whatever process Zahard uses to make the Princesses of Zahard. And of course, Gaston was wrapped in with the whole Princess of Zahard stuff. So I think that's a good idea, but I think the better idea that I saw some of you saying in the comments is something that also we have a lot of evidence for, which is that they just didn't start out this strong. Because here's the thing, we know that these characters have been confirmed high rankers. Dumas has been called a high ranker, which means they had to climb the tower, and if they climbed the tower, they probably weren't always this strong. And I think that's also a really, really great way to balance it. So even if Gaston isn't having them normally as children, he writes them into existence as children, and then they have to go climb the tower, train, get stronger on their own. Dumas wasn't created at the point Dumas is now. He was created and he was regular level, but he built himself up and grew and became the Dumas that's here now. And even if Dumas started out stronger than normal, that's just kind of normal for Tower of God. We know that to some degree, power in Tower of God is hereditary to some extent. We know that if you're born to a family head or born to a strong person, you are just born stronger. If you're born to an irregular, you are born stronger than normal people. And then there's kind of diminishing returns where it's like if you're born to a weaker person, like a family head's kid, then you're a little weaker than that. And it kind of just spirals down and down from there to a certain degree. So we do know that, again, to a certain degree, power is hereditary, so if Dumas started out stronger than normal people, the writing children started out stronger than normal people, so did the actual biological children of these family heads and everything. They're already starting out with an advantage. They're already starting out more powerful than normal. So I think that's actually a really, really good way to balance it in the writing, is to just say, yeah, Dumas and some of these others were created with Gaston's powers. Even if they were created by his powers, then they're still not created at high ranker level. They're created at regular level, and they worked their way up. So with that all out of the way, let's actually get into reading the chapter. I'm excited to see this chapter because, again, I know I've been saying for weeks that things were apparently getting really good scores. People were really excited about stuff. I don't know what any of the stuff they're excited about is. But again, knowing that even though I and many other people have my misgivings about the past chapter or so, that things seemingly are going to get better and get really exciting. So I'm excited myself to see what those things that are in the future are. So yeah, I guess let's go. I think what I'm most excited for is I've liked Dumas so far, and now that we're getting into his human form, into his world, realm, heart here, I wonder what his interactions with the main trio is going to be like. So either way, let's start reading. We get a violence warning, so we are to some degree still going to be getting some combat, some violence. It is still called Bomb vs. Dumas 2, so we are still continuing with this. It's been a long time since I last saw a living being here. That could be a problem. Family head ordered me to bring that boy to him alive, but this isn't going to be easy. And he brings out Rosario and fires off the spears toward the three of them as they're still falling. And the three of them are, well, I say the three of them. It looks like mostly Bomb and Kun doing things. Rack is just kind of posing. Bomb, over there. He's going down. It closed, and he got sealed within. Could this be the place my master told me about? Huh? Before my master left after his fight with Dumas, he told me that we have to enter a place inside Dumas's armor and destroy his heart. He said that's the only way to beat Dumas. What are you saying? We're inside Dumas's armor. I love these constructs as well. The design of them is really cool. Then do you think Dumas's heart is here? If my guess is right, it might be here. So if we destroy his heart, then Dumas will die and never wake up again. I heard that Karaka hides his heart in the same way as well. You mean Karaka has armor like this too? Yes, that's why Karaka doesn't want anyone to enter his armor. Although if he doesn't want people to enter it, he's not doing a great job because he brings people in there all the time. Although if this place really is inside Dumas's armor, I'm not sure why Dumas himself is in here. That's not important right now. We need to find and destroy his heart. Dumas probably went to reawaken his heart. We have to stop him now. Let's go. Okay. Again, Rack just no dialogue, just plodding along. They all leap down. I'm sure he went down this way. How do we activate the platform? Since we're inside Dumas's body, maybe only Dumas himself can activate it. But come to think of it, even if we get this thing to take us down, if we're using the same platform as Dumas, then there's no way we'll get there before him. That's true. Let's go down some other way. What? This place doesn't belong to us anyway, right? It doesn't matter if we rough it up a little. Rough it up. Yeah, let's just go down this way. And break through on the side. Alright, good plan. Dumas stopped somewhere on the way down. I don't feel the vibrations of the platform. Bomb? Got it. And he starts using, presumably Shinwanryu, since it's like light rather than water in appearance. It worked. The wall's reassembling itself. Let's hurry. And they go inside. As it closes behind them, it closed up again. Again, I really like the design of this place a lot. It's this way. Come on. And then something happens as they step in. What's going on down there? They start falling. Run. He's trying to confuse us by moving things around. Okay. I'll input some fixed coordinates in the lighthouse. If we get separated from each other, head that way no matter what. Okay. Then more of them traveling. Kun, don't worry about me, just keep running. Got it. Again, I don't think Kun should be saying that. I think it's probably important for them to stick together. Like, splitting up is probably not the play. Again, just silent Rack. Everyone's split up while trying to dodge the traps, but it doesn't matter. As long as they follow my lighthouse, we'll all end up where Dumas is. I bet Dumas is in the place where his heart is stored. If we can just destroy his heart there. And then something appears? Is this one of the spears? And actually stabs Kun. Huh? What happened? How can this be Dumas? And again, I don't think there's actually any trouble, because Siu set up the plot point of, oh, there's going to be bad things if I use the fish. So it's like Kun can't die until we get to that point. We've seen Kun quote-unquote die like 5 times by now. So I'm not too concerned. What happened? How can this be? Dumas? And he grabs onto him. Is here. And takes him. Have to hurry. So I guess Dumas probably, he needs to collect Bomb in order to get the information from the book to Gaston. So at this point, since the way things turned out outside of his heart ended up the way they did, he's probably like, okay, now I just capture them one by one. Something must have happened to Kun. Otherwise, his lighthouse wouldn't have suddenly stopped working on the way here. It's a good thing the lighthouse went down so close to our destination. It's just up ahead. There it is. And he's waiting there with Kun. So yeah, Dumas was moving. The center of Dumas's armor. You're too late, Irregular. The heart chamber. I was hoping you would arrive before this boy stopped breathing. And again, I wonder, I couldn't restart my heart when I got here. I thought maybe this boy was the cause of the problem. So I killed him, but my heart still won't start. I'm sorry he died in vain. Again, I wish I could believe it, but I don't. I mean, he's probably lying in order to manipulate Bomb, in order to get Bomb, like, off his game. But, I don't know. He killed him, just like that. Don't be ridiculous. And again, why is Bomb's power looking like this? Like did a new assistant take over? There's no way Kun could die so simply. We have Leviathan. You say Kun is dead. What makes you think that? Although there are some exceptional beings like myself, most living creatures die when their heart stops. Well, I mean, Kun's heart has stopped before and he didn't die. So the boy is dead, I'm afraid. That or Kun, again, like last minute, because he unconsciously froze his heart the last time when Rachel stopped it, maybe this time he's like, oh crap, I'm about to die, so he consciously stopped his heart, maybe. So he's just using that to play dead, and plus, now he has the flame himself, so he has the way to wake himself back up again. So the boy's dead, I'm afraid. That's not what I asked you. The bomb rushes in and just gets conked in the head, knocked away to the side. Then what are you asking me, boy? He looks a lot like Mate here. I guess it's from the like black and red bits from the eyes. Are you asking me how I feel about the boy's death? Then I don't experience such emotions. I am the incarnation of strictness. And he sends the spears toward Bomb, and Rack reaches in and pulls him out of the way. Okay, you okay, Turtle? I like the idea of Rack doing things. Yeah, I'm fine, but Kun, geez, he looks terrible. Is he dead? No, he's alive, I'm sure of it. I just imagining Rack saying, geez, he looks terrible. Is he dead? No, he's alive, I'm sure of it. Alright, then let's beat that spearman turtle and get the blue-haired turtle out of here. Okay. Come on. And then they both start going in, avoiding the spears. After being knocked out earlier, then waking up again, I feel so much lighter. My ability to control rocks is way stronger as well. So again, Rack is really... I like that we're getting his internal thoughts here. We spent so much of the first half of this chapter just... I was afraid Rack is just going back to silent, comic relief. We're not getting any more development from him. But I like that he's thinking about what's going on. He's trying to figure it out on his own. We get his internal monologue. And to me it makes sense where it's like, okay, Bomb is irregular, dodging these spears, whatever. To me also... Rack is a spear bearer. He has more knowledge about how spears work, so it's fine for him to be charging through, I think. And I like that he's tapping more into this ancient power. My ability to control rocks is way stronger as well. And he's buffing himself. I love this. And does he go large form again? I hope so. Again, I mentioned watching Ron Can's reaction a couple weeks ago that I agree so much with. I feel like I am done with Chibi Rack. I want full-size Rack almost all of the time. I want him to just stay in that form, because where we have all these other characters doing cool things, getting some character development here and there, or at the very least all the different cool outfits we've had for like Bomb and Andrasi, but Rack has just been in the same, blue shorts and red t-shirt, in the same chibi form, just hanging around in the background. I want more Rack internal monologue. I want more Rack development. I want him in his full-sized form, getting different outfits. I want Rack to be more of an actual presence, an actual character. And I think that hopefully this is maybe a good step in the right direction. But then again, 20 chapters ahead of now, I might be ahead of myself. He might just be comic relief in the red t-shirt. But hopefully not. Hopefully this is a step forward for Rack in his portrayal. And Dumas blocks. Bomb comes from the side. Floral butterfly, piercing technique. Hits him in the back. Shoot, that didn't deal any damage at all. No matter what it takes. We have Bomb's hands. Twin wings. He's using this again. I have to pierce him somehow. Floral butterfly, piercing technique. And I think this is the second time he's used twin wings. I'm gonna tear you to shreds. I know he used it against Calavan, but I don't remember if he used it before then. Then it seems like he's pretty unfazed. Grabs Rack by the neck, which is dangerous. We saw him grabbing people and it's not a good sign. Knocks away Bomb's attacks, it looks like. and throws Rak. We have a spear coming towards Bomb. And it looks like it might hit. It, at the very least, is knocking him back. And again, something that I saw, I didn't really complain about last week, I think, but I saw people complaining about, was recently it feels like we've had a bit of a backslide in terms of the choreography and how clear some of the panels are to read in action. And I do think the past couple chapters have maybe had some issues with that. Like, it's not like Tower of Beams. It's not as bad as it has been at some points, but I do think we've maybe gone a little bit backwards in that regard lately. And then Rak as well. I don't remember seeing this one. And then he's screaming as he's stabbed. That power. I haven't seen it in ages. I didn't expect to see the main body alive and moving like this. What does he mean? That power, I haven't seen it in ages. I didn't expect the main body. You might be worth something to me, so I won't kill you. So he's talking about Rak. So the main body, again, we've talked before, is... So Rak's history was never set in stone in the actual manhwa itself. So is Rak going to be retconned? A lot of people said this way back when we first learned about the Ancient Giant, into the Ancient Giant that split itself apart. Is Rak the main body? Is Rak the actual Ancient Giant, but he just lost his memories? He is not a direct descendant like Edwan thought he was. He is the actual Ancient Giant, and he needs to become the Avatar, collect the elements again. Is that Rak's endgame? Because calling him the main body. So I won't kill you. And then we have more spears. Coming in again. Rak! And Bomb is pinned down. We have Rak pierced multiple times. And actually it looks like one of his legs should probably be gone. But again, Tower of God, he can probably get it back. Usually you can get limbs back. We don't know why or how, Lobodon didn't get his arm back. But, again, it's cool to see the main characters facing some adversity here, even if I think Rak and Kun are going to be fine. And the way in which I think they're fine, I think there's a lot of ways that it can totally make sense. Like I said, Kun, it can totally make sense. We've seen before, he accidentally stopped his heart. So what if we actually do get to see him use his ice powers again to stop his heart, and then use the flames to then unfreeze it again? You might say that's OP because it essentially makes him immortal, but I think more than that, it's kind of just a loophole for if he thinks he's going to die ahead of time to just, not die immediately. And then Rak, of course, Dumas is specifically not killing him, and we're getting the sense now that, again, he could be the Ancient Giant himself. It's so funny, too, that Dumas, we have the whole Popodao family and everything, and even Dumas has the monocle, the nice, pants and shirt, and then just totally barefoot. With that power of yours, you could probably restart my heart. You'd better do as I say, or I'll kill your companions. I'm not doing anything you say. And then he grabs on to... I think that's Bomb grabbing onto the blade and breaking it. He just broke through Rosario's spear. I'm not sure... Now I'm sure of it. I need that power to jumpstart my heart. And Bomb is going in again. We see the actual, Shinsu this time. And it's all congealing around him as he goes in for a punch. Or multiple attacks, but it looks like they're getting blocked again. With a still composed Dumas. None of my attacks are working. But what if I use my master's technique that I saw that day? So is he going to go Dragon Tiger Gate on the main body? Yeah. Twin Dragon. Tiger Gate. He goes in, but it looks like he's getting grabbed onto. And, hold on, this is goofy as hell. I actually kind of love how goofy this is. And it's interesting. It seems like we just have hands that come out of everywhere. Like he's not just moving super quickly, but it's almost like the smoke around his hands, like he's just forming more hands as he blocks attacks. But he comes in, grabs Bomb's head, and then spins him. That is crazy. What an ending too. I would have almost expected us to get cliffhung on the Dragon Tiger Gate, and then the way it is handled at the beginning of next chapter is that he gets spun. But it's hilarious that we end on Bomb getting spun. Wow. I do think this was much better than last time. Again, I don't know where Kuhn's development... Let me remove this so that you can see the credits. I don't know where Kuhn's development's going at this point. I think him getting random ability to use spells without working for it whatsoever is lame. It's kind of awful. I really don't care much for Kuhn at this point. But again, I think the way that Kuhn was handled here is a lot better than the past multiple chapters. In addition to that, I think that Rack was handled very well here. We actually got to see him stepping up and being more of a character, being more of a presence, which is something that I feared after leaving that state that he was in, that we wouldn't really get to see again anytime soon. So I like that we have more from Rack. We're getting more development towards potentially his backstory, and that also ties into potentially his future, his end game even. In addition to that, we got his internal sort of monologue to himself, which was good. Bomb here is fighting Dumas, but Dumas is still made to look very, very strong, very capable. Dumas doesn't look like an idiot here, which I think is very good. So again, I think all in all, this was a way, way better chapter than last week and even the week before last. Again, I think last week was not very good, like 4 or 5 out of 10. Before that, people complained. I thought the chapters were, like, you know, if we're going to be really, really, really honest, this Slay the Chess Pieces stuff, compared to, like, some of the good parts of Tower of God, especially compared to just getting the hotel arc not too crazy long ago, it's definitely a step down. The Slay the Chess Pieces stuff has been pretty mid. But again, while people have been saying it's horrible, to me, it is just mid. Then this, I think, is maybe a little bit of a push upwards, but we'll have to see where the rest of this goes, because again, it can go anywhere from here. I think too, it is, I don't know if it's good or bad. Honestly, as much as I love and I praised a lot with things like the hotel arc, as much as I praised us picking certain subplots and sticking with them, I think maybe we could have jumped around a little bit more, just because I feel like we haven't seen Tiara at all, we haven't seen Andrasi at all, really, like barely. We've seen her like look at her chess piece last chapter or whatever. So we've seen pretty much, or chapter before last, I think actually. So we've seen pretty much nothing out of her. I would have liked to have jumped around a bit more. We still don't know what's going on with Gorodo and Enkidu. I think one thing that I really wanted us to jump to more, that I really want to know what's happening, is Proust and Yama and Lobanon, what's going on with that stuff, because we haven't got to that in a long time, and I'm curious as to what's going on there. Again, I don't need a lot, just like the stuff we got with Traumeré and Holem was nice, just to check in, to let us know what's going on at least. But again, it's fine, because maybe when we go to that stuff, we'll focus on that stuff for a while. But yeah, either way, don't really have any problems with this chapter. Thought it was good, and I want to go edit this video for you all, so I'll end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter and my first thoughts and reaction. Again, I will have in the comments and description links to Animosity and Naya D. Hemming's videos on which princesses they would like to see next in the series. And yeah, other than that, subscribe for much more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Again, I mentioned really enjoying Dumas. It's so interesting. I said at 650, because the last character poll was at 550, I would try my best to do another one again at 650. And if we do another big character poll where we get, you know, over 10k, like 5 figures votes again, I wonder, with thousands of people giving their votes, where characters like Dumas or Tiara, who weren't even around last time, where do they end up this time around? And I mean, I guess technically Dumas was around if you count if you count season 2, but I'm interested to see where characters like that end up here, or the Lobadan, the Serpent Master. I think they're all good too. I'm interested to see where these characters end up when we do that again. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, ask and I can give you a link. It's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel, it's just drop a super thanks down below if you'd like to, or if you would like to not only support the channel, help me to continue to make videos, but to also get One Piece videos a little early. If you want to get a shout out at the end of every single video, hit join down below to become a member, or go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, Farnono and Abyss Knight, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, Pure Element Pate Audialo. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.